Good evening. I'm going to get a little less formal and hold this microphone because this is easier for me to talk into like this. I'm your Master of Ceremonies this evening. My name is Sean King, and I am proud to be one of the Assistant Athletic Directors here at Allegheny College and the Chair of the Hall of Fame Selection Committee. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the 2024 Allegheny College Hall of Fame Induction Ceremony. For those of you who are returning, whether it be after a day or several years, welcome back. To those of you who have never been here before, welcome. Before we begin, if you join me in thanking our folks from Parkhurst Dining Services, including our General Manager, Maria, and Director of Catering, Heather, for all of their service in this wonderful evening tonight. Thank you very much to our friends from Parkhurst. We'd also like to extend our warmest appreciation to Technical Director Heather Curtis and the staffs of the Allegheny Physical Plant and Institutional Advancement Office who helped with our preparations. They say it takes a village, and an event of this magnitude needs support from all of those areas. And to Michelle Thompson. Michelle, where are you? Michelle, please stand up. Many of you have interacted with Michelle in one way, shape, or form. Michelle is the straw that stirs our athletics department. Without her, we would be very lost, and this night would definitely not be the success that it is. So Michelle, thank you very much. Tonight we will honor and hear from some of the best student athletes and coaches to don the blue and gold while representing Allegheny College. All conference, all region, and all America honors abound this evening. Plus, one of the most celebrated teams in school history will take their place in the Hall of Fame this evening. We invite you to sit back and enjoy tonight's ceremony. To our inductees, enjoy the evening. You've earned this opportunity. At this time, I'd like to turn the microphone over to Allegheny's Director of Athletics and Recreation, Bill Ross, for an official welcome.
Holy water.
All right, well, welcome everyone. Not used to these things, so all right, I'll do this. So, welcome everyone to the 2024 Allegheny College Athletic Hall of Fame induction ceremony. In keeping with Allegheny tradition, I'd like to begin this evening by recognizing a few of our honored guests in attendance tonight. And also, if I mention your name, please stand, remain standing, and if everyone can hold their applause till the end, that would be great. First off, I'd like to introduce the President of Allegheny College, Ron Cole. Also sitting at the table, Vice President for Institutional Advancement, Matt Stinson. Also at that table, my wife, Wendy Ross. Please stand, Wendy. Which I need to publicly apologize to this evening for continuing to be such a cheap date. Today marks our 38th wedding anniversary. I'm not so sure if she would have chosen this type of a celebration, but I am blessed to have married such a wonderful life partner. So thank you, Wendy, for sharing this time with me. Ron, did she buy it? Also joining us this evening, some past Hall of Fame inductees. From the class of 1991, the induction class of 1991, from men's basketball, Marty Borzakowski. Inducted in 1992, athletic director, head basketball coach, head golf coach, Norm Sundstrom. Inducted in 1998 from the men's basketball team, Dave Malone. And from the 2018 induction class from men's soccer, Ben Montgomery. we are so glad that all of you here are with us here today. So, ever since my first year at Allegheny College, the Hall of Fame induction ceremony has been the highlight of the year for me. I always tell people the longer you're here, even though I'm not an Allegheny alum, it's now marked year 29 for me, I certainly feel like one, and the longer that I'm here, the more that I really get to appreciate all of the stories, all of the memories that are shared whenever we gather together with alumni. Okay, it's a wonderful tradition, and I hope that everyone can get a little bit of a glimpse of what I'm talking about. I know that whenever we get together in these types of functions, if you're not an Allegheny alum, you're not associated with one of these, a team or a team member, that sometimes some of the stories may get a little lost. Okay? I'm asking you to just sit back, relax, enjoy the stories, because you will soon learn, just as I have learned over the years, that Allegheny College produces some of the finest people you'll ever want to meet. So with that said, I will turn it back over to Sean King and enjoy the evening.
Wendy, I was trying to figure out why Bill pushed to have the Hall of Fame this weekend, but now it makes a lot of sense. Now I know why Kevin Poole had to go in so that you had to be here. One quick housekeeping note for our inductees. After your introduction, please meet President Cole and Bill Ross right in front of the podium to receive your plaque and take a photo. There is an X on the ground to make it even easier. I promise to be out of the background before the legend himself, Ed Mallard, takes the photo. All right, and now for our feature presentation. Officially, a member of the 2023 Hall of Fame class, we are honored this evening to welcome back Robert "Bob" Bedrosian, who was unable to attend last year's ceremonies. One of the most prolific aces on a pitching staff that has produced numerous great arms, the Southpaw was a 3-time All-PAC selection and led the Gators to 4 PAC titles. Graduating as the all-time leader in career victories for Allegheny, Bedrosian remains tied for first nearly 5 decades later. He also sits atop the list for career innings pitched and is second in career earned run average. A 1977 Allegheny graduate, please join me in congratulating Bob Bedrosian.
Shorten it a little bit. I don't want to take a lot of your time, but I'd like to thank the Hall of Fame committee, as well as the college. It's an honor. This is the first time I've been back in Allegheny since 1978, 46 years ago. I'm from New Hampshire today. It's been a long time since I've been here, and I've had a lot of great memories about my time here at Allegheny. I remember a lot of the people. I remember a lot of the teammates that I played with. I probably wouldn't recognize them because they all got old. And I also knew that there are a lot of great players on the teams that I played. But the testament here is really not to me. I want to pay homage to Coach Garbar, who to me was my mentor. He brought us together as a team. He made us better as a team, which is evidenced by the fact that we won 4 PAC championships. And it was a fun time. We had a great time. I have one memory that I want to share with you tonight, and that's in the early part of my senior year. Some of the seniors got together and decided that we wanted to go south during spring training or, during the spring vacation. And we were told that there was no funds available for us to do that. So what we did was we got a list and started making calls and letters to baseball alum, and we raised enough money to go down on spring training, and we had, like I said, we had a blast. And that was our legacy, because hopefully they're still going now and will continue to still go. That was the first time that an Allegheny team ever went south. Hopefully we can go south while we're playing. I was on campus during the 74-75 basketball season. And they had great players on those teams. But it was the team and the way they played together that made them great. And I want to give my kudos to them, and they deserved it. So the key here to me is team. Everything is all about team. I thank you for this individual award, but still, I remember team. Thank you. Thank you. Look at the hair.
The picture from 1977 looks identical. If you were to poll NCAC softball coaches in the 2005-2008 seasons as to which opposing player they would be happiest to see graduate, it would undoubtedly be our next inductee. A 2008 Allegheny grad, Abby Bodelos remains one of the most decorated student athletes in the rich history of Allegheny softball. The only Gator to have ever secured multiple NCAC Player of the Year awards, she was a 4-time All-Conference and 3-time All-Region pick that led Allegheny to 2 NCAC titles and NCAA championship appearances. The speedster remains the program's career leader in stolen bases, and her batting average over 400 in her final 2 years led her to graduate with a career .366 average. Our first inductee for the class of 2024, please welcome Abby Bodelos.
Can you hear me? I've been an athlete for my entire life. Well, sometimes like the past 5 or 6 years, because that's what happens when you get old, I guess. I can play on the court, I can play on the field and not be nervous, but this is the worst case scenario for me. And also, this is the first time ever I'm using my phone for my speech, so bear with me on that. But I wanted to start off today by simply saying thank you. Thank you to this very special Allegheny community, the athletic department, the softball program, the selection committee, my nominator, my teammates, coaches coming all the way from Maine, my best friends, and fellow student athletes. I promised myself I wouldn't cry, here I am, and my family. Everything that's important to me in this world stems from community and family, and it's so special to be in this room tonight celebrating with all of you. I'm honored, more than I can even put into words, quite frankly, to be recognized here today with my fellow inductees. To be acknowledged and chosen to represent the school and athletic department in this way is such a privilege. When I first received the call about the induction, I immediately contacted Coach Sandberg, knowing that she had something to do with it, but also share this with her. I'm beyond grateful to both her and Coach Warba for believing in me, supporting me, and just being the best of moms. During the conversation, she said, Bodie, and that was my name on the field, and I don't remember the last time I heard it until I made that call to you, Coach, so thank you. Bodie, you know you have to give a speech, right? So start writing down your memories to make it a little bit easier for you. And that got me thinking, because I feel so removed from identifying, as I said earlier, as an athlete. And the truth is, I have a really horrible memory. Like, I can't even remember what I had for dinner last night. Bad memory. But as I've been sharing this news with my friends and family, I've had the opportunity to relive some of the moments as I tell stories about my time on the team. Most of the material actually comes from the bedtime stories I tell my daughter Rose, who frequently asks for Allegheny softball stories. Here are a couple on rotation in no particular order of fondness. I remember the time whenever we had a doubleheader and the storms were rolling in, yet we stayed on the field, so we absolutely couldn't get off, to not get off the field. And tornado was rolling in, and we're running up the hill to get back into our into the locker room. We were all huddled in the locker room, thinking like, what is the crazy scenario that we're in today? And then we went home and had a wonderful, spontaneous night with my friends who were there waiting for us. Or the time that we practiced at the rest stop on our way to some tournament where we were literally in the woods and on the pavement in between cars doing our throwing ground balls for exercises on the way to a game. The time that we would play the glove game, which we all sat in a circle and would just try to ball up for as long as we could. I actually don't remember what our record was for that. The time that in the very first season here in Allegheny, and I should say I didn't come to school thinking I was going to play sports, and then I ended up playing two, basketball and softball. But that fall season, and I came initially as a catcher with my best friend who was the pitcher, and we were supposed to play together. So this didn't turn out what I thought it was going to be. But I was a catcher at the time, and the very first position practice we had, Coach took the catchers and was just spitting balls out with the pitching machine. I don't think I caught one single ball, and I had 100 bruises on my legs to prove that I was not actually supposed to be a catcher, and I quickly became a middle infielder. One of my most proud moments was when we did the overrun play against Muskingum. I'll never forget that. That was a special play that Coach learned from her coach at Muskingum, and then we played them in one of the playoff games, and I was successful in doing it, and I've never heard another coach more angry than that time. But really, when I think about my time as part of this team, and what I recall largely is focused around how I felt during those experiences. And let me tell you, I had feelings, all of them. Being on the team was tough because of the game itself and the time and work it took to be successful, but also because Coach held us to a very high standard. She wanted to win, we all did, but she also wanted to remind us that we represented something bigger than ourselves. We represented each other, the program, the athletic department, the school. Being a part of this program taught me how to be a solid player with grit, class, character. Fortunately, I had the skills to allow me to be on the field and a part of it. But the things I hold on to dearly are more about the experiences I had with the people going through it with me. That's the truth of it, really. You play for the love of the game, but you stay and you work hard for the pride and for the people. I've taken this truth and the work ethic that I've learned as a student athlete with me, and can only hope that my girls reap the benefits and carry these values as they grow as well. So as I stand here today, and I'm almost done, I'm sorry, I appreciate the acknowledgement of my individual skill and accomplishments on the field and as an Allegheny softball student athlete. But what this honor really means to me is more about the people that went through it with me, the ones that were waiting for me at the home plate, ready to embrace me after hitting that home run, or cheering until they had no voice when I stood at second base. The ones that ran the push gates next to me, the ones that taught me about what it means to be a leader, the ones that gave me grace, space, motivation, trust to be the best version of myself as a player, a captain, and a person. How amazing is it really that I get to share this with all of you tonight, so thank you.
think Abby forgot about the 12 or so missed phone calls before she finally called me back and said, hey, you're trying to get a hold of me? It's just us. No one else heard that. I can spend enough time speaking about the terrific work that our next inductee has done in the last few years raising awareness for organ donation, but I will spend time speaking about her athletic career on this evening. Despite missing nearly her entire junior season, Jessica Kankowski-Goller graduated as the 4th all-time leading scorer in Allegheny women's basketball history, putting up 1,150 points. As a sophomore, she poured in 455 points, which was the 4th most in a season. She finished her career as a 3-time All-NCAC selection, earned Great Lakes All-Region honors, and was recognized as a preseason All-American ahead of her junior year. Under her leadership, the Gators claimed an NCAC regular season title and advanced to the NCAC tournament finals. A 2024 Hall of Fame inductee from the class of 2004, Jessica Kankowski-Goller.
Thank you so much. It's such a great honor to be here tonight. Do we all remember that final huddle? Come on, guys, bring it in, bring it in, bring it in. Everybody remembers that, right? Usually you don't call that final huddle unless things are really going bad. I have a number of final huddle stories. One actually was incredibly instrumental later in my life, which I'll share with you. But this one final huddle, nothing could go right for us in the game, nothing. We were losing the entire time. The refs, we couldn't get a call. We were tired. We just, anything that you could think of was going wrong. So I called the team in, come on guys, there's 3 minutes left in the game. We're down by 15. We can do this. We can win this game, but it's going to take a lot of focus, and it's going to be one play at a time. And if we can do that, if we can win each play from here on out, we can win this game. Now you guys have to believe, okay? And so sure enough, we started to get the momentum back. We started winning. One play at a time, one play at a time. And next thing you know, we won the game. But a lot of my career was that final huddle, and I know a lot of you can relate to that final huddle. Fast forward about 10 years, and my son Lucas is waiting for liver transplant. He had been waiting for a year and a half, and he was in his final days. And I had transposed myself back onto the Allegheny basketball court. And I looked up and I saw that 3 minutes left, but the 3 minutes wasn't left in the game anymore. It was the time remaining in my son's life. And I had that final huddle. And I said, come on, Jess, we gotta get it together. We have to win each play at a time from here on out. This is no longer a game, but my son's life. So, my son is here today, by the way. He's actually outside. Everybody could get incredibly emotional. But that final huddle was so significant, and I can thank my coaches and my teammates and everybody, my parents, for teaching me how to stay so calm in those final moments. And so my son Lucas, in that final huddle that I had with myself and God had soon told me to start a Facebook page for him. And the Save Lucas campaign was soon after kicked off, and one play at a time as the time ticked down to 0. He received a liver transplant, and people would always ask me, how did you stay so calm during those times of such stress and anxiety? I can tell you my training on the basketball court with my coaches and the training that I received from my parents, it was truly unbelievable, the amount and the ability that I was able to learn how to push myself until I couldn't push myself anymore. And on those final days of my son's life, I was able to survive for an extended period of time. It's just, I never would have imagined that basketball would have played such a critical role in my life, but that one particular day that I was transposed back onto the basketball court where fans were leaving because they didn't believe in us, but we believed in ourselves. That was so instrumental and inspiring to me that years later it helped me to save my son. I didn't save him, I just did what God had told me to do. But I had listened, and I just want to thank, I never had an opportunity to really share that story, and I figured tonight would be a really great opportunity to share it with my coaches and my parents about truly the Save Lucas campaign, that each of you were incredibly passionately involved when I initially saved that, or started that campaign for him. So I just want to say thank you to you. Thank you to my parents.
Thank you, Jess, and a reminder to be an organ donor if you're not. One of the architects who helped build the Allegheny cross-country and track and field programs into national contenders, Kevin Poole, set the standard for Gator distance running. He was the first ever Allegheny runner to win an individual NCAC championship and the league's Runner of the Year award. He then went on to do it again the following year for good measure. As a junior and senior, he was Allegheny's first cross-country All-American, placing 10th and 17th, respectively. On the track, he was a 5-time champion and was the league's 2005 Distance Runner of the Year after earning 3 individual crowns at the league's outdoor signature event. And then, just to make the rest of us who view his sport as punishment feel worse, he placed 18th at the Boston Marathon in 2013. The 2005 Allegheny graduate, please join me in welcoming Kevin Poole.
Thank you. It is a tremendous honor to be inducted into the Allegheny Hall of Fame. This fall marks the 20th anniversary of my senior cross-country season, and it's great to be back on campus. I'm happy to share this moment with everyone here this evening. As an 18-year-old freshman, I never would have imagined how impactful my experience as a student athlete here would be. Allegheny became a home for me, not only as a young adult away from my family for the first time, but an environment where I could learn and grow, and a place where I could find my athletic talents with coaches and teammates who supported those endeavors. Running has been a huge part of my life ever since. I've traveled the globe, competing in many of the world's biggest marathons. I produce running events for a living, which allowed me to meet my wife, Michelle, who's here with me tonight. And I've coached cross country at the collegiate and high school levels. but that trajectory really started here at Allegheny. And there were two people in particular that I'd like to recognize for my personal achievements, as well as the achievements of the men's program. For those that don't know, before he was athletic director, Bill Ross was the highly successful coach for the cross-country and track and field programs at Allegheny, and my coach for my 4 years here. Boss Ross, as we call him, had been coaching cross-country at Allegheny for a relatively short time when I arrived on campus in the fall of 2001. As a football player and a thrower, he definitely didn't look the part of a cross-country coach. Although we never spoke of it directly, Coach Ross and I shared a common vision that the program could be competitive at the national level. In 2003, I became the first men's NCAC cross-country champion and the first NCAA All-American in program history, finishing in 10th place. I followed that up with another NCAC title and another All-American in 2004. But that was just the beginning of a great period of success for Allegheny's men's cross-country program, with numerous NCAC team championships, several individual All-Americans, and 2 NCAA podium finishes. I was a proud alum watching the podium finishes at the NCAA championships in 2006 and 2009. But building a winning team culture isn't just about the coach. The team itself carries that responsibility as well. When I visited Allegheny in the fall of 2000, my host for the recruiting visit was Dan Prinsick. Dan and I hit it off from the start, and he helped solidify my decision to attend Allegheny. During the 2 years that we were teammates, Dan was a friend and mentor to me, setting numerous Allegheny records and qualifying for national championships. He reset the bar and pushed me to realize my potential as an athlete. My senior year, Dan returned to Allegheny as an assistant coach. I can say with absolute certainty that without Dan's influence, I would not be here accepting this Hall of Fame induction today. A few of my teammates are here tonight as well. Coach Ben Maurer, Allegheny's current coach, and I were teammates for 2 years here. I like to think that I helped inspire the success of Ben and other runners who came after me. Dave Wachowski and Matt Popowitz are also here tonight, fellow members of the class of 2005. And they were with me every step of the way in our 4 years at Allegheny. When I texted them that I was being inducted, Dave responded that it was like all of us getting inducted with you by proxy. That really encapsulates our team culture, and I couldn't agree more. I feel fortunate to have enjoyed my time here at Allegheny immensely as an athlete, a student, and as I transitioned into adulthood. I look back fondly on many memories as part of this team, and my experience competing at Allegheny shaped the course of my life in so many ways. I will always be proud to be a Gator. Thank you.
I think my favorite memory of Hall of Fame induction ceremonies past is anytime anyone drops a Boss Ross, it just, the room just chuckles every time. Simply put, our next inductee was a bad man on the soccer pitch in the best way possible for Gator fans. As a freshman in 2004, Eric Sloan helped the Gators topple Denison in penalty kicks in the NCAC championship match for the program's first NCAC crown. That was far from the final cardiac moment for the kid that year, as the Gators used PKs to dispatch both Transylvania and Carnegie Mellon to push through to the NCAA's round of 16, where Allegheny fell to eventual national champion Messiah. His dominant center back career was bookended with major conference awards, securing the NCAC's Newcomer of the Year award in 2004 and the league's Defensive Player of the Year laurel in 2007. He was also recognized as a member of the league's 30th anniversary team. Joined by his coach, Angelo Panzetta, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, representing Allegheny men's soccer and the college's class of 2008, please welcome Eric Sloan.
Thanks, Sean. And thank you to the athletic department and nominating committee for rewarding me with this great honor. Congratulations to the 2024 class. I'm humbled to be a member of this class and join all of our alumni that have been also honored and have contributed to this college and great athletic tradition. It's extra special to be inducted with the fellow 2008 grad in Abby, as well as with Mr. Bob Del Greco, who was on the basketball team, whose son Bobby was my teammate, 3-year roommate, and one of my best friends to this day, whose family I've become close with since we met 20 years ago. Speaking of 20 years ago, in August 2004, I stepped foot on this campus as a freshman, beginning with preseason practice. And when I think about 20 years ago, a few things immediately come to mind. First, one memory that comes to mind involves legendary head athletic trainer Jamie Plunkett, who was inducted here in 2018. Many here know him as the athletic trainer, but I first knew him as legendary high school hockey coach for the Meadville Bulldogs, who won 8 state titles and over 1,000 games. In addition to soccer, I played hockey in high school. And in March of 2004, my Mount Lebanon Blue Devils met Jamie's Meadville Bulldogs in the Penguin Cup final at Mellon Arena. I broke a 0-0 tie in the third period, and we ended up winning that game 3-0, winning the championship. 5 months later, when I stepped foot on campus, I went to the training room to get some treatment and introduced myself to Jamie and asked for some help. He looked at me and said, "I know who you are, and I'm not helping you." He did let the door stay closed for a few extra seconds and make me ponder if he was being serious. And he then helped me out, and over the years it's been great to catch up with him, to see him as the grill master at the Golden Gator Golf Outing. My second memory that comes to mind about 20 years ago was during preseason. I stepped onto campus as a 17-year-old. My 38th birthday is actually this Sunday. And I remember sitting on the second floor of the campus center with my team, filling out documents and waiver forms. And I had to fax paperwork to my parents because I was not old enough to fill them out myself. My teammates did not let me hear the end of that, needing mommy and daddy to sign my paperwork. And third, thinking about 20 years ago, what comes to mind is the picture on my plaque, the picture that was on the article that was posted announcing the inductees. Upon reading the article, both of my older brothers told me congratulations. One of them made sure to comment on how much weight I've gained and how different I look now. I want to thank both of my older brothers, Peter and Greg. I really got the best of both worlds with them. Pete, who's 5 years older, was always the most supportive and protective brother, and was always just very nice to me. Greg, 3 years older, wouldn't let me win anything. He did not have it easy from my parents. He was constantly being made to drag me to his friends' houses and include me in various athletics. While we argued and fought most of our childhood, he built that competitive spirit in me. Thank you both for being here. Thank you to my sisters-in-law, Bianca and Erin, and my nephews, Emma, Tyler, and Connor. Don't worry, Mom, I'm saving you until the end. Allegheny means so much to me. First and foremost, I met my wife, Lori, here, who's been chasing kids around. We met in the spring, our sophomore year of 2005, on a blind date at a party hosted at the house where our soccer seniors live. We've been together since that night, 19 years in total. We've been married 13 and a half years. Thank you, Lori, for being such an amazing wife and mother to our 4 kids, Isabel, Dia, Ronald, and Charlie. They're over there. She's holding the 2 younger boys. In addition to Lori, Allegheny is special to me because 10 members of her family also attended Allegheny, which includes her parents who are here tonight, graduates of 1973 and 1975, Neil and Sarah. Not only that, but I'm the 3rd member of Lori's family to enter the Hall of Fame, joining her uncle Jay Lewis, who entered in 1997 as a wide receiver, as well as her cousin and Jay's son-in-law basketball player David Masiola, who entered in 2013. I want to thank Coach Angelo Panzetta. Ange is one of the main reasons that I came to Allegheny. An amazing person, first and foremost. He was such a great coach and leader, building a culture of camaraderie. Whether it was preseason cookouts, or poker tournaments, hosting guys at his house, or lecturing us on needing to be on time at alumni golf outings. Ange knew and knows how to connect with everyone. I'm proud to consider Ange a close friend to this day. Thank you, Ange, for all that you've done for all that you have done for us in Allegheny. I wouldn't be here today if not for my teammates. While I'm being honored, I share this award with my teammates, two of which are here tonight. Hall of Famer Ben Montgomery, Mark Schuley, Chris Fidelli, and Andrew Stutzman. Thank you for being here. In addition to those guys, I want to recognize my Agro Crag housemates, which include Andrew, Bobby Del Greco, Patrick Bowman, and Ryan Larkin. Our mid-2000s teams were very successful. In addition to making the conference championship every year, as Sean mentioned, we made it to the Sweet 16 my freshman year in 2004. Actually, there's one other person I wanted to recognize, Dan Bucky Carrick, who we lost in 2018. He was the voice of reason, the model student athlete, and someone that we all looked up to. Speaking about that run, the 4 years of greatness, as we were called, have a bond that continues to this day. I would not trade my experience for anything. The bus rides, the locker room celebrations, the bus celebrations, at times to the annoyance of the women's team, the team meals at Spaghetti Warehouse in Ohio. All of it created a group of friendships that have continued via golf trips, get-togethers multiple times a year, and never-ending text chains reminiscing about the same stories that continue to make us laugh. To my parents, thank you for investing in my Allegheny education, for always being present, and for always supporting me in all of my endeavors. The 79 games I played at Allegheny, my parents made it to 78 of them. Only missing one because my dad had a medical appointment he was unable to schedule, but he tried. It didn't matter whether the game was 20 minutes south of where they lived at W&J or 8 hours, an 8-hour drive to Indiana. They were there. They were always there to support me and even give me $20 after a game when I asked for it. Not only for me, but they didn't miss anything for my brothers either. They put off trips and other conflicts to put my brothers and me first. To my mom, who my dad said gave me all of my athletic ability, thank you. I have vivid memories growing up, playing ice hockey from the age of 5. And in locker rooms filled with crazed hockey dads, there was my mom, the only woman in the room who taught me how to ice skate and continues to teach kids in Pittsburgh, tying my skates tighter than any dad did for their kids, providing the best advice and encouragement. Lastly, this is for my dad. He died 4 years ago. He was my biggest fan, many times at an embarrassing level. But I always knew where I stood with him, and he was always so positive and proud. Not only about me, but of the teams I was on. Always telling anyone who would listen about our accomplishments. His brother, my Uncle Kippy, actually texted me today, and he put it really well. He said that he knows a guy who's in heaven who's going to be watching, bursting with pride, and talking about it to every soul within 100 miles of him. I can't say it any better than that. Thank you very much.
Our next inductee is the greatest breaststroke swimmer in Allegheny's illustrious swimming and diving history. A 2009 graduate, Erin Ham Steeler qualified for the NCAA championships in 3 years and competed in 9 events. In total, she finishes a 3-time All-American and 5-time All-NCAC honoree, which if you're not familiar with Division III swimming, you could be the 3rd best swimmer in the NCAC and be the 3rd best swimmer in the country. That's just kind of the way it's broken down. Two of the top programs in the nation. To this day, her name still dons the college's record board 4 times in the 100 and 200 yard breaststroke, and as a member of both the 200 and 400 yard medley relays. Following her senior year, she earned Allegheny's Senior Achievement Award and was a Student Athlete Advisory Committee's Female Athlete of the Year. Please welcome to the stage, Erin Ham Steeler.
I'm a crier. Start by trying not to cry. I want to thank everyone, especially Allegheny, for this incredible honor. I have an incredible amount of gratitude for Allegheny and my family and my friends who made the effort to be here tonight. It means a lot. Sorry. Okay, we love you. I would like to extend my thanks to Allegheny for providing me with the opportunity to swim and grow over 4 years. I'd especially to acknowledge my parents who rarely missed a swim meet. My mom is still here with us, so thank you, Mom. And unfortunately, my dad passed away long ago, but I know he'd be proud and super thankful to be here. So thank you for this, and thank you to my parents for taking the time to acknowledge my growth and the ability to swim. They were always there, and now that I have 4 children, I truly appreciate the time and effort that they put in to be there because I'm a slot. I also wanted to thank my teammates and friends. They made a rigorous training and schedule seem enjoyable and fun. I grew not far away from here in Franklin, Pennsylvania, so during the summer I would come swim here with some of my teammates from Franklin, and Mellon Pool kind of became my home. And so it was an easy adjustment to come to college and swim here. And I'm super thankful that I had that opportunity. I think, right, like as you're young, you have ignorance. And as a freshman, I didn't acknowledge my ability or know what I could do. And so during swimming, you have your 2 big swim meets, right? One is mid-year and one is in the spring. And that's when you can showcase your abilities, and that's also when you can make a big event. And right before Christmas or our winter break of my freshman year, I was swimming at Eastern Michigan University. And Coach Erdos and Coach Jazz and all my fellow teammates were like cheering wildly, and I'm swimming the tone of brush, and I'm like, what are these people doing? Like, why is everybody cheering and acting crazy? And as I hit the finish, or I don't know what you want to call it, timing pad, I found out that I had made a national cut for swimming. And I never knew that I had the ability to do that or could do that. And so I think it led to my future, right? Like, it makes you think about what you can do, and it led to my future goals. So that was a thrilling achievement for me. And while it's easy to remember the achievements from swimming, it's the camaraderie from your teammates that really makes it easy to accomplish what you've done. My 2 favorite training trips were my freshman and sophomore year to Puerto Rico. Perhaps because they're distant memories. At the time they didn't seem so fun, but now they're good memories. You wake up, you swim twice a day, plus you do a dry land, and at the time it seems hard and grueling, but looking back, we made a lot of great memories. At night, we would sing karaoke and do skits and get to know
and it was an overall good experience. In conclusion, I just want to, again, express thankfulness for Allegheny and the committee and everybody for making this possible tonight. My husband and children who came from Orlando, we didn't have an easy time getting here yesterday. So I want to thank you for coming with me and your unwavering support. I also want to thank my brother, my sister, my in-laws for also making the effort to be here. Your presence and support me more than you can imagine. And also my friends from college and high school. They also took time away from their families and to be here tonight, and that means a lot as well. I miss my friends and family. You mean the world to me. So thank you to Allegheny and my friends and family. You mean a lot to me. I'm truly blessed to be here and have everybody that's here supporting me in my life. So thank you.
Our final individual inductee earned his rightful place in Allegheny's Hall of Fame this evening. Jim Swanson was a 1992 graduate of Allegheny College, where he was a large part of the success of one of the nation's most revered programs of his era as a Gator men's golfer. In total, he was a 2-time All-American, 3-time All-Region selection, and captured all NCAC honors in each of his 4 years. His final 2 years on campus were marked with back-to-back 7th-place finishes at the NCAA Division III Championships. And during his tenure on campus, the Gators were routinely at or near the top of the leaderboard at every event in which they competed. Back with us this evening to enter the Hall of Fame, please welcome Jim Swanson.
Hey, thank you everybody. How's everyone doing tonight? How's the evening? Thank you for coming out tonight, first of all. It's a great crowd. And a lot of people showed up for a Friday night. There's other things you can do on a Friday night, you know. Well, maybe not me, though. Maybe not me. Anyway, nice turn. I'll try and keep this pretty quick. There's a whole basketball team coming up. So, let's see if we can get through this. But I certainly would like to thank my mom and dad and brothers for everything that they did for me in my childhood. And I'd like to thank the following Allegheny golfers who played a significant role in helping my golf game soar to the next level. You know, the real competition first starts at home with your own teammates. And each of these guys raised that level of competition, making me a better player. In no particular order, I'd like to thank the following teammates: Sam Wiley, Mark Boyko, Steve Whitten, George Garagash, George Lasky, Tim Hutton, Dave Stockman, John Weiler, Chris Maragno, and Eric Stoltenberg. I thank you guys for your competitive spirit and friendship. I stand before you tonight a humble but proud member of the Allegheny community, and now also a member of the Athletic Hall of Fame. The reason that I stand here tonight is quite simple. Coach Sundstrom remembered me. It was last year at this time that Coach Sundstrom called me and said that he had moved back up to this area to be with his family and grandkids near Youngstown, Ohio. Getting involved with the school's athletics again, Coach said that he noticed that I was overlooked for the Hall of Fame. I said, "Hey Coach, that's easy to do, I'm only 5'7". He said, "I'm being serious, Swanson. You deserve to be in the Hall and I'm going to nominate you." I thanked Coach, and quite frankly, I was shocked that he remembered me 32 years later. I mean, I didn't even remember me at this point. but Coach did, and when the guy who created the Hall of Fame nominates you, you have a pretty good chance of getting in. So I would like to tell a quick story about Coach Sundstrom and his coaching style. He was quite a progressive coach for the early 1990s, well ahead of his time, having us track our every shot on what we affectionately called the norm sheets, filming our swings, having us watch cyber vision videos, and even bringing in a sports psychologist to help with the mental side of our games. And Coach could back it up. He was hitting drives right out there with us, and he had a real nice golf game himself. But I think his true nature is better illustrated in the following story. In late fall one year, we traveled in the early morning hours to Armco Country Club for the Slippery Rock Tournament. When we arrived, winds were gusting hard and snow was coming in sideways. And these were not flurries, these were snow squalls. Coach got out of the van, he opened up the sliding door. I was sitting in the first seat next to the sliding door, and a bone-chilling surge of air entered the van along with some snow. I looked at Coach and said, "We can't play in this. They got to cancel this thing." He looked at me right in the eye and said, "What are you talking about, Swanee? Grab your clubs and get out here. This is gator weather." Now, I've yet to see an alligator in any of the creeks, streams, tributaries, rivers, or lakes of this fine commonwealth, and we all inhabit. But I knew what Coach meant. His message resonated with me. He meant that you got this. He meant that we got this. And Coach Sundstrom always had a way of instilling confidence and believing in us more than we believed in ourselves. Quite frankly, I cannot think of a better quality in a coach than exactly that. So to Coach Sundstrom, who's here tonight, I would like to say that you were more than a golf coach to me during my years at Allegheny. You were a father figure as well. And I love you, Coach Sundstrom. I thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I promise you that I will return the favor of remembering me by never forgetting you. Thanks again, everyone. Have a great evening. Thank you.
At the time, the 1974-75 Allegheny men's basketball team had one of the best seasons the program had ever seen. The year culminated in the Gators' first President's Athletic Conference championship, and the team ended the regular season on a 10-game winning streak, also the best to that point. 13 of the 15 wins that year came against PAC opponents, while those 15 wins were second most to that point. After claiming the PAC title, the Gators punched their ticket to the NCAA tournament, the first time any Allegheny team accomplished that feat. All 5 starters were recognized with all PAC honors for that season, led by first-team All-PAC performer and 1991 Hall of Fame inductee, Marty Orzechowski. Orzechowski, Dave Malone, Robert Del Greco, and John Reinders have all earned their individual spots in the Allegheny Hall of Fame, as did the legendary coach for whom the Hall of Fame is named after, Norm Sundstrom. You can always applaud Coach Sundstrom. John Reinders was initially scheduled to speak on behalf of the team this evening, but due to complications from Hurricane Helene hitting Florida this week, he was unable to make the trip to Meadville. At this time, I'd like to welcome all the members present of the team with us this evening to receive your plaques, and Coach Sundstrom has graciously offered to say a few words on behalf of the team.
Everybody, turn face coach, take a couple little steps. There's no hiding from the service. Here we go, everybody ready? And 1, 2, 3, and let's go again. Get ready? 1, 2, 3.
Catch my breath, I haven't walked that far in a long time. Mr. President, fellow inductees, John Landers, or when Bill Ross informed me that the 74, 75 team was going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, I immediately called John Reinders, one of the co-captains of the team, and I said, I don't want to speak. He said, you have to speak for me. So John said, oh, I wouldn't miss it unless there was a hurricane. Yesterday I got that call. I'd like to begin by saying I spent a lot of time throughout my life, I'm 93, speaking at some various events like this. And my wife always was so kind and always sent me a little note. And of course, today I got one. It is KISS. I said, gee, that's really sweet. We're going to be married 70 years next month. Wow. And for her to send me such a nice thing. And I opened it up and it said, keep it short, sunshine. I'd like to begin by asking you for a moment of silence in memory of Athletic Director Al McElhaney, Assistant Coach Chuck Swick, Co-Captain Mike Malone, and teammates Ed Buca and Mike Hudak. I also would like to remember a young man that passed away at one of our practices a year before, who would have definitely been a member of this team, Richard Yeckley. So if I could have a moment of silence, we appreciate it. Thank you so much. I'd like to give you a little background relative to the 74-75 season. You have to understand, spirits were pretty high at Allegheny College. We had just finished the 10-10 season, but Coach Mack brought along a football coach by the name of Sam Time. He was in his 5th year, and they were 7-1 and co-champions of the PAC. Of course, I was hired the same year, and I'm in my 5th year. So I want the team to know there was a little more pressure than they thought relative to that particular season. Though we were only allowed 20 games during that year because of the President Athletic Conference rules, most teams started practice October 15th. We started on November 1st. I'd like to tell you a little bit about where we played, what our home was. We played in the David Mead Fieldhouse, an airplane hangar. Lou Stack, who wrote a short story about the 74, 75 team. He described it very well. Had glass on one side, steel bleachers on the one side that went up towards the locker room, and it was a great place to play. But I want you to know it's the only facility that I know of that was ever canceled a basketball game because of rain. And it got cold in there. I remember we brought our team back from Christmas for early practices, get ready for the second half of the season, and it was 55 degrees in there. And I called the maintenance department. I said, hey, you gotta turn up the heat. They said, we got orders. We're on break, heat stays at 55. I said, what are we gonna do now? I said, managers, go out there and get snow and put it on the thermostat. So we put snow on the thermostat, we got the heat down, and we actually heated the place ourselves. Also remember being in the locker room of that team, and as I said, the one side of the floor was all steel, and you could hear the noise all the time. But we're in there, I'm trying to cover some things at halftime of the game, and I hear this roar. I mean, a roar, and there's stamping going on and everything else. I said, manager, go out there and find out what the heck is going on. Well, you know what it was? They had a halftime donut eating contest. It was won by one of the fraternities, entered a dog that they starved for 4 or 5 days. And in 2.3 seconds, ate 12 donuts. And they were the winners. I'd like to talk a little bit about my coaching staff. Chuck Swick was an excellent coach, loved by everyone, but you know what his occupation was during the basketball season and all year? He was an attorney in town. My other assistant coach was a gentleman by the name of Peter Voss. Peter was assistant for football that year and was an assistant in basketball. You know what his job was all year? He was custodian in the David Reed Fieldhouse. By the way, Peter called me today. He said, please tell everyone I said hello and wanted you to know that that's what he decided to become a coach when he was involved with that year at Allegheny College. Now, Lou Stack, a member of this team, wrote a short story about the team. He called it 2 Lessons from the Pine Chairs. He summed the team spirit of 74-75 as follows. Be good at what you do, but even be better at who you are. That sums up Coach Swick and Coach Voss. On this team also, I had 2 co-captains. One was John Reinders and the other was Mike Malone. You see, they both were starters at one time throughout the year. However, they were team players and helped in the recruiting process. I always kidded them, they recruit yourself to the bench, which is actually what they did. But they were in the top 8, and I always considered the top 8 to be starters. I don't know, back then, we liked to play 8 players, and I always, as I said, I considered them to be starters. We also had, at that time, I think if you look at the picture, it was like 19 or 20 people on the picture. We had a JV team or a freshman team, which was good, and a lot of players come off those teams and eventually played varsity ball. We also had great school spirit at that time. We had a great pep band. We filled the gym. And as I said, the football team was 7-1 and spirits were already high. And we had a person that was student manager, probably the greatest cheerleader in Allegheny history. And I'd like to recognize him tonight, is Rodney Walton, who I said that you don't know, but I got that here. Rodney just said, I'll tell you a story. I don't want to take up too time. You can sit there long enough. But anyway, I remember Bill Falloon, who was on that team. gave me a call yesterday. He said, Coach, I'm sorry I can't be there. I really wanted to be there. He said, but he's in Hawaii. He's still working. He's an orthopedic surgeon. He said, I always wanted to confess this to you, but didn't know whether I should. But you remember when we had those timeouts and Rodney would go out there and get the crowd roused up? He said, I started peeking to see what the heck he was doing. And I thought that was a pretty good confession on his part. About the team, the regular season was 15-5. Playing with today's rules and regulations, I would say this would be a 20-plus win team. We started the season 2-4, with 2 losses to NAI schools, and 2 losses to Division II schools. Then finished 13-1, winning the last 10 games of the season. We had a well-balanced team, as all 5 starters, as I mentioned, received all conference honors. I don't think this has ever happened before or since, and it shows that the coaches really didn't know who to vote for when they picked the all-conference team, so we spread the wealth around. In my opinion, and Lou Stack's opinion, this team set the standard for the success that was enjoyed for many years to come. In fact, for 19 straight years, Allegheny never had a losing season. But what made me most proud of the players that represents the 74-75 basketball squad is what they have accomplished after graduation. People tops in the field of employers, physicians, dentists, lawyers, college presidents, top businessmen, school superintendents, top photographers for National Geographic. These people is what Allegheny 74-75 team is all about. Go Gators. Forgot to mention, this is my son. He goes all the way from the Outer Banks to get here for this because he knows I need a driver at night. By the way, he's that little guy in front of that picture.
Thank you to all of our inductees for wonderful speeches this evening. At this time, I would like to invite to the podium the president of Allegheny College and a 1987 alumnus, Dr. Ron Cole, to say a few words and handle the official Hall of Fame proclamation for our 42nd Athletic Hall of Fame class.
Camaraderie, community, friends, mentors, love of Allegheny, love of team. Love of team and being part of something bigger than oneself. Gator weather. These are the things I learned about tonight. We still have that gator weather. I learned about strength, focus, hope, and action as part of the final huddle. I want to thank everybody for being part of this special occasion to celebrate the accomplishments of some of our most successful and inspirational student athletes and citizens of this world. Being a founding member of the NCAA, Allegheny has a deep history of celebrating the achievement and development of our student athletes. And you may already know about where we're at right now in our arc of history at Allegheny College. And we're launching into what we're calling our strategic pathway. A pathway to a future in which this college will thrive. And athletics is and will continue to be a critically important part of that future. And it's explicitly called out in the second goal of our pathway to have a vibrant and inclusive campus, and we've seen that tonight. And I'm proud of our student athletes and the legacy of Allegheny Athletics as a core part of our vibrancy of this amazing institution and as a model for inclusion across this campus. We want to ensure that today's students, as well as students for generations to come, have the tools in and out of the classroom to be successful, which includes having the best possible athletic facilities at a D3 institution. And so in this regard, I think it's an exciting time for Allegheny Athletics. I've chatted with a few before the event tonight who went up to Robertson and said, wow, I haven't seen the new soccer fields up here, the blue turf. And you might have noticed we're getting a brand new track put in this year. And thanks to the generosity and loyalty of some of our alumni, we have plans for a premier center that's going to be adjacent to that new track at Robertson Athletic Complex. It's going to serve all of the sports team up at Robertson with a focus on our football program. It's going to boast a new locker room, offices and meeting rooms for recruitment and special events. But perhaps more importantly, it's going to be a space for our student athletes to engage with each other, engage with alumni around mentoring, or career paths, and just how to be part of a team. It's also an exciting time for Allegheny overall. Our enrollment this fall is up 13% from where it was last fall. We have record-breaking fundraising taking place. We're investing in this campus at a time when you hear about a lot of schools facing closure. Let me just put this to rest. Allegheny's going nowhere. We're not closing. We're investing into the future, and we'll be here for generations to come. You'll hear more about all of this and other investments that we're making as part of our upcoming campaign, In for Allegheny, our pathway forward. I invite all of you to return to campus on October 18th for a celebration of Allegheny as we formally launch this campaign as the most ambitious in Allegheny's history. And now to mark this moment in Allegheny history, I'm going to ask that each of our honorees this evening please come forward and face the crowd for the official enshrinement declaration. All honorees, please come forward.
You're good.
Dave's right behind you.
Here we go, everybody, looks good. Everybody sees the circle, right? 1, 2, 3. Let's go again. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Don't go away.
All right. Now here's the official part.
Here we go.
Be it known that on this date, the 27th of September of the year 2024, we gathered in the city of Meadville, where we got gator weather, in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to enshrine Robert Drosian, Abby, Photo notes: Jessica Goler, Kevin Poole, Eric Sloan, Aaron Steele, Jim Swanson. The 1974-1975 men's basketball team into the Allegheny College Hall of Fame. This action publicly proclaims those principles and values inherent in and enriched by the Allegheny experience as exemplified in the lives and careers of these individuals. They, by this election, bring honor not only to themselves, but also to our alma mater. May their accomplishments, here recognized, serve as a lasting challenge for future generations to discover the best that lies within their hearts and minds, and through disciplined pursuit, achieve excellence of the highest order. I hereby declare that these individuals are now enshrined as members of the Allegheny College Athletic Hall of Fame.